Good day, my dear ones.
Hello.
From beautiful downtown cold Port Charlotte. Mm-hmm.
It was what, 42 degrees last night? Something like that, 46?
Crazy.
I forget what.
See, that would be life below zero for us.
Yeah.
You know? So they talk about in Alaska, 0 and below. 40.
Yeah, I'm a little warm-blooded since I've moved to Florida.
Yeah. You know, we're doing this video, and I've been kind of hyping this up on other videos because, and it's been talked about, you know, we're always talking about detoxification. And then what about the building up? So people like Ian and individuals that have went through the detoxification process, whether complete or not, shifted to, you know, more greens and vegetable matter and more things like alfalfa, higher amino acid blends, in other words, to build up. And so we are heavily into that as well, but our focus is to get your body regenerated and rebuilt. Now, what's interesting is that people talk about the detoxification stage and then the rebuilding stage. The problem with that is that these are almost synonymous, because as you start to hydrate and you start to create that liquidity within the lymph system and the filtration, and you start moving these electrolytes out, these acids out, then you start to see the response of that tissue behind there. And we're about to show you a case that made me cry, and it's just amazing what you can do and what this mother persevered through to get her baby to this. And it's just amazing. And this is part of the regenerative process. The thing is, though, this is taking place predominantly during detoxification. It is not.
Well, Robert, you just mentioned hydration. What does acids do? They break down and they dehydrate. When you start on an all raw diet, you are high liquid water content, hydration. So when you have these lymphatic systems that are hardening because of acidosis in the little capillaries, I want you to think about anybody that's ever mixed cement and it starts getting thicker and it starts hardening. What do you have to do to get that, wet again? You have to add more hydration. And that's why we work with fruits and vegetables, because it's 60 to 90% your water, number one, but it's high frequency water, but your fruits have even more so, and the astringent factor and stuff, than even the vegetables do.
So let's look at the electrolyte, because dehydration occurs under acidosis. We know you go start running, working out too much, what are you doing? You're creating a lot of acids, right? Acids have a dominance of protons, right, in the nucleus. So that automatically initiates ionization. In other words, the need to bring balance, or if you even consider there's a homeostatic process going on, which there is to a certain degree, of course, then you're going to see the loss of electrons from the electrolytes, because electrolytes have a higher number of electrons than protons, which makes it an alkaline dominant element or compound or whatever. So as acids accumulate, that's proton dominance. And so naturally you're going to see the calcium buffering system, you're going to see an electrolyte that has high electrons being pulled into that acid which has high protons to bring hydration or a balance to that. And that's ionization, and that is vital. You cannot hydrate eating acid foods because it's a dehydrating factor. Acids dehydrate because they're proton dominance. So you have to look at that, why we use electron dominant electrolyte dominant foods. And that's all your fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables.
And herbs.
You're going to talk about oatmeal and how that's not an electrolyte dominant food. And that's important to understand, that at a chemistry level, what's going on here? What are we doing in chemistry here to the body? And you go back to the blood and alkalinity and the alkaline dominance factors and why that's essential. And why it's essential to have alkaline forming or alkaline ash forming foods. It does not draw the electrolytes as a acid dominant food does. And being inside with the body and having acid ash, now you're pulling the body's electrolytes into it. You're sucking the calcium out of tissue to create that ionization, to try to create that balance. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Real big deal. So we're going to show you this child. This I've been excited because this mother has stood up against the allopathy. Said if you go on this diet, the baby will die. Of course, they already said the baby doesn't have a
Said
life.
it's a very dangerous path to be taking.
Yeah, very dangerous path.
This little guy's name is Luke. And Luke, when you see this picture, Luke is 7 years old. He's going to be 8 in June. And this is Luke.
Here's Luke. Here was Luke.
Let's see if we can get that just a hair closer. This is a 7-year-old little boy who weighed 20 or 21 pounds when I first spoke with Mom. And Mom was, I'm going to wait. Well, no, maybe I shouldn't. This is Luke 6 months later. Smiling a little bit, focusing with his eyes where he wasn't before. This is Luke and Mom.
Mom's getting her baby back.
Yeah. So I thought the best way to do this, because no story is ever as good
As the one who writes it.
as the one who writes it. And so this letter is just a little long, but I want you to grasp the importance of multiple things in this letter that she says. Luke's mom and a friend of hers reached out to me probably end of May, beginning of June, and I was able to talk with the mom for a little bit and just give some recommendations. Let me see. I'll just start in right here. His mom's name is Sam. Sam and I had an opportunity to talk in June about Luke and what detox would look like for him. There was definitely fear about him going all fruit. Here are before and after pictures, which I just showed you. Now this is the mom starting the letter. Luke was born with polymicrogyria, a rare neurological condition, and further to this, had, because of this, cerebral palsy, a condition resulting in impaired muscle coordination, leading to spastic paralysis and other disabilities caused by brain damage before or at birth. He also has fulminase deficiency, or better, which is a rare genetic condition in the Krebs cycle that mainly affects the brain and nervous system. Luke has been pretty thin a long time and started raw, went 90-10, 90% fruits, 10% vegetables and herbs for almost 6 months. Doctors told me this would never work, that this sort of diet change is extremely unhealthy and dangerous. But what it did do was saved his life on so many levels. He is not perfect yet, but he is 100% better than what he was. He is off all drugs. He is having no seizures. I think he was close to 100 seizures a day when we first started. The odd ones he does have are 5 seconds long and very tiny. His breathing, respiratory issues, gone. Heart problems, vanished. He had issues of heart rate that would go too high or too low. His bowel movements have gotten better. They're not 100% yet, but better. He is building muscle. He is no longer as deathly ill. He's not getting colds. He's able to move his head more. When we started, he couldn't even acknowledge with his eyes. He would have a blank stare. Now he will turn his head and look in my direction and follow me with his eyes. He has more arm movements. He's more expressive. He's stronger. His stiffness is gone, which he does have extremely bad case of cerebral palsy, which seems to be correcting itself. He smiles. Not much, but getting better. Any mom who listens to this, just to have your baby smile at you, that's huge. His eyes sparkle like diamonds. He is holding himself up better. His spine is in better alignment. He has 0 acid reflux. He has gained 10 pounds. Now, as of last night, she messaged me and he's gained 15 pounds. He has never done that before. He was 20, remember, when he started, at 7 years old. So many more improvements just by following a vegan, fruitarian lifestyle. It's been a crazy ride and an expensive one, but we are doing great. Can't wait to see what another 6 months brings us, because I know we can do 100 times more improvements. This is kind of what I want you to hear from a mother's perspective. Don't listen to doctors that have zero education when it comes to food and the human body, as far as equating things and what food can do to heal us and bring us back to life. We must take control of our own destiny, heal our own bodies, and not depend on others and bad advice. Remember, you are in control of your own children. You have the power. You have the choice. You have the knowledge. Never ever give up and never stop learning. I'm going to give a link to his page at the bottom if you want to follow along with it. But there are very few cases like Luke's in the world. There's only one in Canada, which is Luke's, and there's 30 to 35 cases worldwide. The survival rate is usually infancy, or so the doctor said. He is turning 8 in June. Nothing is impossible. He's been treated with alternative medicine since he was born, but no vaccines, which I'm pretty sure gave him such a good survival rate.
Oh, yeah.
I also wanted to share that Luke didn't, this is important, please, please, please catch this part. Luke didn't start gaining weight, nor was he seizure-free when I first started this. He did lose weight. He didn't look that great the first few months, but after we broke through the initial weight loss, things started to turn around. The pictures show the difference, but it did take time and faith on our part. I think that's when people give up. They don't see change in a few months, but change takes a very long time, especially if your body is genetically broken or compromised. The body has to heal so many different areas. A lot of people won't see the change in the first several months, but after that, amazing things can start to happen, and you'll see it with your own eyes. Even when you can't see it in the beginning, a lot is happening on the inside. Parents just have to stick with it and know that seizures or symptoms may get worse in the beginning, but in the end, they will start to slow down and then vanish once the body starts repairing itself. I had herbs on hand and CBD for when Luke had bad outbreaks. I have used Dr. Morse's herbs with great success, but since I'm in Canada, I had to find a cheaper supplier in Quebec that has the same herbs. Don't let being able to afford things stop you from succeeding. Dr. Morse always tells us there's other options that we can get herbs from when we live in other parts of the world. Don't let cost deter you.
You know, stopping right there for a minute, and the vitalness of this, and we've talked a lot about it, going through that initial stage of detoxification. If anyone thinks, and I say this because there is regeneration during detoxification. This is a good example. I mean, this is a prime example of this, because in some, this is on a detox. Not really. What we do is we put the client on the proper diet that fits with the species, frugivore species, right? And then we just use herbs to enhance the function of cells, which are structure function, whether it's a parathyroid, a pituitary, whatever we're after, to increase the function of those cells. And then by hydrating you and energizing the tissues and getting filtration through the kidneys, then you start to move these metabolitic acids out that have become agglomerated, and then the nervous system that was above. Because when you see all these different systems down, it's kind of like you're looking at one symptom here and you're going to treat that symptom. You're looking at a symptom over here, that symptom, you're going after that symptom. That's academics. You know, the mind is looking at these things and the effects of these things. Spiritual people pull back from thought and go, wait a minute, okay, that's a symptom. Now what's causing that symptom? How interesting is, one, symptoms are linked either from acidosis or alkalosis, because there's only two sides of chemistry. That's number one. Factual. Can't get any more factual than that. And so when you look at all that, you can put it in the context of what we're talking about. You understand the lymphatic system, acidosis, the effect of that on tissue. And whatever system has a high level of acidosis, you see it broken down. In genetic stancing, you see the weakness of the cells. But what they don't understand that this deals with consciousness and that you can regenerate that cell.
Absolutely.
And we see it,
Absolutely.
there's a good example of it during detoxification. But you're going to get skinny, and in the beginning forms of detoxification, the body is going to clean itself as opposed to try to rebuild itself.
Well, we were just talking, just before we started, Robert uses the analogy of cars, and I use the analogy of houses, but if you're fixing a car up or you're fixing a house up, that place is going to look pretty gnarly. You've got sawdust, you've got drywall dust, you've got mud tracked in, you've got bondo on the cars, you've got,
Exactly.
Whatever.
DIY
Things get-
network. Go look and see when they go and just
Exactly.
take something apart to rebuild it.
Yeah, you have to tear down before you can rebuild. And in that process, things aren't maybe going to look good or feel good. It's the point of getting to the rebuilding part
Exactly.
that's the exciting part.
To get these type of results, though, your focus can't be on symptoms.
Yeah.
You have to pull back, get smarter, more awake, which our group is extremely smart and awake. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We just talked with Child Services over a case. And this case is just really starting under our tutelage. And it's a severe case, not as bad as this one by far.
Right.
But it is still the little girl, right? She, she's got extreme inflammatory processes going on, and when you look at her eyes, you see even that parathyroid gland was thickened with lymph stagnation. So you see all those things that are blocking the body from getting well. Clean that one system. The system that deals with metabolitic waste, and that includes from movement, lactic acids and things like that, and now the body can hydrate properly and start to rebuild itself. And it happens under the sky of proper nutrition, but proper nutrition has to be understood under proper species. You don't take a cat and put it on fruit. Won't work real well. Can, but not real well. But you can take an omnivore and do that, which is interesting.
I actually have some cats that really like
Do
fruit.
you really? God.
Not me personally, but cases that really like fruit.
That's
But-
wild if you can get a cat to love fruit. And I would think that would regenerate them pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's interesting to see how it happens in all these species and all.
Yeah.
But it's exciting to see cases like this, and this is just one of many. I'm trying to get the film from the lady we had out there, remember her with the Lou Gehrig's?
Yeah,
I'm trying to get that film because that's another case where it's a Lou Gehrig's, what they call Lou Gehrig's. And again, she modeled, she was a singer, she lost the ability to speak and sing, of course, and modeled and couldn't walk anymore. And then
Toes curled under.
Toes curled under. And we have video of her first movement, I forget, 4 or 5 months, her first move standing up and pushing her stroller. And her starting to talk. And then she started singing. Now that's what this is about. You can't deny the effect. You can't deny when you see cases like this what they've done to get there. And I've been around almost 50 years in the health field, and I've never seen anything regenerate at this level. Never, ever, anywhere in the world. Never seen it. And that's because man's fixated not on the cause of things, but on the symptoms of, and then feeding man more vegetables than fruit. And we have so many people that go, the difference between vegetables and fruit. Amazing. But
Now, don't get me wrong. I love my vegetables.
my salad once in a while too. Yeah.
But it's the fruit that has the more astringent power of getting things loosened and getting things moving. And
Well, you want to tell them about the oatmeal?
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah.
so Sam, Luke's mom, got in touch with me yesterday. So Luke has been about 6 months on predominantly fruit, a few little vegetables and some herbs, but predominantly fruit. And she thought that she would give him a treat. So she gave him some oatmeal. Luke proceeded to, his blood pressure dropped drastically, and I don't know if it was both feet or just one, swelled way up. And of course she got a little scared, so she took him to the doctor, and they were checking for blood clots, and they were checking for infections, and wanted to put him on antibiotics and all this stuff. She said absolutely not. I think she did something, whether it was herbs or whatnot, to get him to go to the bathroom, and once he started going to the bathroom, the swelling went down, the blood pressure stabilized, and it was all food related. There's a number of reasons why these symptoms can happen, but this happened to be food related. And so understand, those cheats sometimes can get you through to the next day, but sometimes you can feel some big blowback from those.
This also tells me that this child is well on the way to recovery, but also not there, not even close, because you should be able to eat a bowl of oatmeal and not see the inflammatory blowback. So think about this. Oatmeal is an acid ash food. So immediately, this baby went from, not a baby really anymore, but went from a high electrical diet, which was supporting the nervous system, right, to maybe 1,000 angstrom diet, and then an acid ash diet on top of that, which sucked more electrolyte power out of the body. And so then the body went back down neurologically. And then you saw the kidneys then went down. The nervous system controls everything, including kidney function. So when you suppress the nervous system, then you saw the kidneys went down, and then you saw the lymph blowback from that. How interesting is it to see that foods have such a dramatic effect on the human body? Well, how do you think we got
how interesting is it that we have promoted that oatmeal is a very healthy food, and yet yet this response happened off of just a bowl of oatmeal.
Yeah, just a bowl of oatmeal. And you'll see that in yourselves too when you are in some of these earlier stages, that you're doing well, and then you eat a little cheat and bam, smacked you in the face. And I've always said this, if you can get someone to do 2 weeks, a Dr. Oz thing, 2 weeks, maybe a month on raw, even I've seen it in a week, but any time on raw like that, and then go have a meal like that.
Well, this is the thing. If somebody wants to argue with you that this doesn't work, have them prove it. Just tell them, do it 2 weeks for yourself, and to show me you do this for 2 weeks, and just see what your results are.
But I thought you guys would appreciate this sort of thing, because it is amazing. This mother, I love this mother because she's strong. Of course, when you have a mother with a baby like this, and you know allopathically there's no hope whatsoever. They have no clue to what causes the thing. That's pretty bad right off. But then there's no hope because there's no regenerative thinking in allopathy. So for her to stand through and stand tall with a baby like this on a raw diet, because initially, we all go down. I'm down to 156, and it's just, you see that, but then you see the building up process. And this baby is so neat, building while he's cleaning. And it's just beautiful to see that sort of thing. But we saw it in ALS. We saw it in all the cases you're working on, I've ever worked on, Attila. It's amazing to watch that. This is a repetitive factor. You see it in all the cases. It's just something that's a natural process.
Yeah. But to be on the cutting edge of getting to see this.
Isn't that fun?
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, you have the cases that are sad. Yeah, you have. If you're ever going to start this journey, you will, guaranteed, come upon a day where you wonder if this process works, or you question it or whatnot. Keep pushing through. We even have had that as counselors. Oh my goodness, is this the one that's not going to work? Is this the one?
Yeah,
but just keep pushing through. You'll get it. This mother was scared to try it, but she did it. And 6 months later, she has a little boy that has went from not even acknowledging and being able to look at her to now looking at her, following her, smiling at her. What about the day when he says, "Mom"?
Ooh, damn. That's the thing. And that's what makes this worth it. And why I'm excited about all you guys being healers, because of cases like this and parents that have to put up with these poor mutations, and not understanding genetics. We live in a pretty low world here, and you guys are learning the high roads, and this is really cool what we're doing to this planet. So we love you, and we just really wanted to show you this, and in your own worlds of detoxification. What to expect. Don't get frustrated. If you're not getting there, look at all the things that's going on. Look at your attitudes, emotions. We're talking about child services, and this one child, the fears that this child has in walking now, or having bowel movements because of previous pain during these, and this is factual, I know that well. So you're when you're detoxifying, you're releasing. You're releasing acids by hydration or ionization. You're releasing emotions as the adrenals come up online. You're releasing chattering and thinking. Notice that the more fruit you're on, the quieter and the more awake you appear. Look at the children we now have that are on the fruits that are now 3, 4, 5 years ahead of them in the educational process in our schools. And they're freaking out. This one child is so advanced they don't even know who to put him with because he's talking with children twice his age.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to see that, to see how suppressive acids are to tissues, therefore to the nervous system, therefore to the communication, to the mind and emotional bodies. All of that is interrupted. So this is fun stuff. I just love it. And thanks for the herbs because they are magic healers.
Absolutely.
No question about it. God's herbs.
If I were stranded on a desert island and they said you can take one thing with you, it would be the herbs.
Yeah.
Well, you know that island's going to have coconuts and things like that on it. Right?
But that's already there. That's
Yeah.
what you have to do about that.
I just want to point one thing out. You know, a lot of times when we see a child like this, our hearts break because, we don't see him as whole. But let me tell you something. There is a spirit inside of that child, just like there is a spirit within you, me, Robert. And think about how fruits do start spiritually waking you up. And the spirit within this little boy to finally start being able to even move or communicate or, that's just, to me, I understand the healing of the body, but to me, the healing of the spirit is even more important.
Absolutely. Now, taking a step on that one, and you're looking at it from reverse, all right? So I'm a soul coming into this world. And this body has been chosen for me by the divine, right? And so I'm now entering this body. Now, it's like it's either a prison or it's something to drive around. It's a car that can get me anywhere I want. Maybe it's a four-wheel drive and I can go anywhere I want to, right? Or maybe it's an old jalopy that I don't know if the tires are going to go flat, the radiator hose is going to blow, or the fan belt's going to break. I don't know what. I'm just going down.
You were listening to my car, weren't
No,
you?
no. No, I just drove a lot of those cars before. Remember, my dad was a Chrysler dealer, so I had, all of that. And a tractor dealer.
My first car was a Comet.
Was it a Comet? No way. I can't.
$500 for that car.
I can't remember. I used to jump in any old clunker on the lot and take it out, and I'd break down somewhere, or a deer would hit me somewhere, It wasn't until I got older I got newer ones. But fun stuff, and I think that man has to lose this depressive anger and start realizing that it's fun to get well.
Yeah.
And people can get well. You can't stop chemistry and physics. It's a natural phenomena. It is. And if you work with chemistry and physics, understand it properly and not theories, then you start to see why we're doing what we're doing from a chemical, subatomic level, from an atomic level, from an elemental level, and from a substance level. We should demonstrate how and why these work. And that's important. And if you ever want to sit down with someone and explain that, then you need to learn a little bit about that, but it's easy stuff. You only have two sides of chemistry,
Exactly.
so everything in this world bumps from that. And then you break that into pHs, and everything then is pH factors.
Yeah.
One pH factor, you have estrogen, right? A minor acid in chemistry, and so you have a little stimulated effect, right? So then they blame that on stuff like that, but it's a minor acid. The major acids are down at the 3s and below. So everything is major, minor, that sort of thing in the body, but these pHs are set by the body, and the food that you eat checks and maintains that pH. When you start changing the nature of that, and that's what man has to learn, that there's acid ash foods and there's alkaline ash foods. If you're eating acid ash foods, that's what you're seeing all around the world.
Yeah.
And all they have to do, no matter where you are, who you are, what ethnic group you're in, all you have to do is change from an acid ash diet to an alkaline ash diet, and the magic begins.
Yeah.
We just know that man is more of a frugivorous species, and that by moving toward that goal, look at the magic and neurological magic. See, that the point is, fruits are neurological. We talked about this for years. Vegetables, if you want, but fruit, neurological, not vegetables. So that's why you're seeing
Fruits are neurological. Vegetables are muscular.
Absolutely. Look at a fruit as an antispasmodic agent.
Yeah.
It enhances neural function. It doesn't stimulate. It enhances electrically.
Yeah.
Electromagnetically. We have to look at physics behind foods as well as chemistry.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons that I'm so excited about this is the fact that a lot of people are like, well, I can see with what you're doing where you can deal with acne and you can maybe deal with this and that and the other thing. But what about the tough cases? Is
That's one of them.
Exactly. Right here is some proof in the, what do they say, proof in the pudding?
Proof in the pudding.
We don't do pudding, but you know.
Well, I don't know. What do we have? Tapioca pudding.
Oh, yes.
Oh, now Willie's down from Northern Nutrition.
A good Indiana tapioca
his
pudding.
wife makes the best tapioca pudding with bananas in it. Oh no, we shouldn't have that.
Oh, we shouldn't have that.
No.
Yeah. Fruitarian for the rest of your life. Remember that.
Yeah,
No.
really. I don't think I've ever pushed that,
No.
Because I like flavors because while you're on the planet, you might as well, you can always spit it out if you want, but taste it.
Well, it's like I tell my clients, my job is not to convince you to be vegetarian, fruitarian, vegan. It is to get you healthy. And what you do after that, that's between you and God.
I was just, that tripped me into thinking here. I had a case once, and this was a Jamaican case with stomach cancer. And he wasn't improving. Stomach cancer, I'll use their word, but it's the decay of the stomach, or the cells of the stomach. So, fairly easy to get rid of, actually. Right? And so, but this case wasn't getting better. I mean, I couldn't figure it out. And he's all on fruit, supposedly, and all of that. He's an islander anyway, right? So then I thought I'd go over and visit him. So I went over and visited him. Well, the cars were lining the driveway and out, so I had to park on the street to walk up to the house, right? The minute I opened the door, grease. The air was filled with grease. And I realized there were several families living in the same house. And of course, they're frying everything. And immediately, I knew his problem. You breathe it, you eat it. I've had famous chefs not be able to get well as fast because they taste. They have to just taste. I had one chef, I taste and spit it out. Still, vibration, right in. That's why you do sublingual, right in.
Well, you look at hairdressers, they wear gloves and everything, but the ones who smell the perm solution and stuff, their brain, they have a high brain tumor rate. And it's because they are smelling those chemicals all day long. It's not that they're touching them, although I believe some can get in through the gloves and things like that, but it's that they are smelling that.
Breathing the molecules.
My lungs, for 6.5 years, every day I breathe muriatic acid. Now, muriatic acid, if you've ever worked with muriatic acid, it literally stripped the silver coating off of my faucet and but clouded up my mirrors in my bathroom just from the fumes. So I remember when I first started your protocol, I couldn't get off. I had for 4 months respiratory issues. I couldn't get off of bed. And every year to 2 years, I start going, as I detox, going through another layer of healing that.
Yeah. I mean, when you're breathing that stuff, and these are acids, and the proof is when you breathe acids, look what happens to the tissues.
Exactly.
And acids are corrosive, and that's why your lymphatic system is a lipid-based system to try to buffer the corrosiveness of acids. And of course, then any local electrolytes are going to be sucked out. And of course, when it's joints or anything like that, you're going to see the pulling of calcium, and called the calcium buffering system by a lot of great universities, not understood by medical lore well, which is, what's interesting is so many great universities have great research that the medical doctors are living oblivious to. Some universities, I think, should win a Nobel Peace Prize for their discoveries, you know? But over here, we're too busy looking at theories, and we have our heads, where the sun doesn't shine.
Writing those prescriptions.
Writing those pharmaceutical prescriptions. But follow the money, your Rockefeller, that whole end of it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Prescription death this last year hit number 3.
And Kotar products and just acid. Most of these things are acid. You see an acetate on the end of it, that isn't an alkali.
Yeah.
And so you can't treat with acid. And for some reason, chemists think the body's in an alkalotic state. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Not true. And when you treat that way, you kill. And that's just what's happening. So what's funny is states and child services trust allopathy when they're the top killers of humans on this planet. And how can you justify maiming and killing millions of people and your theory doesn't show any results of regeneration, healing, people coming out of it, and that's all we demonstrate?
Well, it's like you said the other day, and it may have even been on a video. I think it was with Christine.
Okay.
But if you believe in degeneration, then you have to believe in regeneration.
Absolutely. Or you don't understand the universe, you don't understand chemistry or physics, you don't understand any of that.
Yeah.
Because life is yin and yang, positive and negative, male and female, however you wish to divide that up into acids, base, electrons, protons, however you wish to divide that up. It goes into the subatomic particles, go right on. Anything calls the world down, you see duality, essential to life. Mm-hmm. And so we're just jumping on the positive side of life, or the alkaline side of life, basically. But when you eat a fruit, you're not eating all alkaline chemistry. There's acid principles in there, but the dominance is electrolytes. And it has electrolyte ash. Huge difference.
Yeah, major.
Huge difference.
And, you know, the one thing, to take that oatmeal instance, if you think food doesn't have an immediate response within your body,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's a good example right there.
Great example of that.
I had another one that, it was a dog actually, but got rid of all of their tumors, gave them 2 days of a treat. Wasn't even a meat or anything like that. It was chickpeas, I think.
Oh, wow.
And the tumors all came back.
Wow. So, you know, you look at that, that's strange, because you look at that and it really shows the kidney, because, you know, canines are all kidneys, but a little bit of stress on those kidneys, and I think they see it from filtration, people that are watching the filtration issues, and how that can change filtration, you know, even. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see that when you go on these acid ash foods, you stop filtering.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But for allopathy, the lymphatic system and filtration is key.
You can get a blowback. Some people, that's when they see filtration, is when they eat the bad stuff.
I get that.
Understand, your goal is to get to the point where you see filtration no matter what.
Always. Always filtration. So I'm always going, oh, I'm not filtering it. you know that it's funny, but these are the things we have to instill in the consciousness of man, because man, allopathy thinks if you're filtering, you're infectious.
Yeah.
Infectious? I mean, that's idiocy. Just idiocy, and so many people have died over that it's not even funny. And it's like, what? I mean, so you guys are learning so many good things. I'm so proud, and I'm so proud of this mother. I can't even tell you. She just held her case, and now she's got a baby that'll smile and pretty soon say, "Mommy." It's like, whoo, whoo.
Just speaking about what you said, I had a case one time where they started getting rid of calcified crystals in the urine.
Oh my God.
The doctors went ballistic.
I bet.
And wanted to put him in the hospital and on antibiotics, and there's something that's got to be wrong, and he was just getting rid of stuff.
You know, that's funny stuff, but it's like, why you guys wake up? You know, we have a personal trainer, and she's a bodybuilder and stuff like that, you know. And of course, she's been on high proteins for years. So the gravel in her kidneys, she's been months getting this gravel. She ended up with a bile duct tumor in an unusual place. And so the kidneys were just, I mean, gravel like crazy. Mm-hmm. Amazing, you know. So just remember, these things, glomulation, you know, where chemistry comes together.
Yeah.
And that's all happening when protons dominate electrons. And that's acids. And so when that happens, then you start losing what you see. You start seeing everything you see. Because when you see a symptom, I don't care what the medical doctors call it. You can call it AIDS, you can call it Lyme, you can call it whatever. But there's only two sides of chemistry.
Right.
And there's a lymphatic system involved in this, an immune system that they don't understand. And you put those together and you'll know the cause of everything.
So if you want to do a fun experiment, anybody listening to this, the next time your doctor tries to diagnose you with something, ask him which side of chemistry that falls on, and just look at the blank look it gives you.
Oh, yeah, no.
He or she.
No, you'll get that. You know, talking about these things, Dr. Pimple Popper, last night was her new show.
Okay.
And she did pop a tumor, opened up a tumor, which a lot of them, she didn't say last season, but a lot of them were tumors.
Yeah.
And so, but you're demonstrating what's in a tumor, and how you take the sac out of a tumor, and then that tumor's done. what will help them to understand more is how that tumor got there in the first place, the system involved. But the same thing you see in her nasty tumors and cysts that she's opening up, you see in tonsil stones, you'll see everywhere in the body, and pimples and boils. This is just sewage, and it's lymphatic. It's lymphatic, and it's necrotic. So obviously it's extremely odorous. If you've ever pulled out a tumor, which we pulled out a lot of them, extremely odorous.
Ooh, popped a boil.
Protein.
I helped someone pop a boil one time, and let me tell you,
the room filled.
Yeah.
I know. That big tumor that when we pulled that out of that lady's breast, it was as big as an apple pie. Woo! That poor lady had, and John Hopkins let her lay there a week with it. And it was just sad cases around. But you know what? What's great is that this planet is learning to regenerate itself. The inhabitants on it is learning a great deal. So that's exciting for me.
Yeah.
Mission fulfilled. Spirituality, cool stuff.
Absolutely.
So again, going back to this soul that's trapped in that little body, the communication, this soul can't communicate because the mind and the emotional counterpart is being blocked by the endocrine gland toxicity. So once these open up, that consciousness which controls everything, which is the awareness behind everything, which is the energy behind everything, you remove your attention from something, that thing dies. It's gone. Your attention ignites things, turns on the light switch. Notice that. You know, whatever you put your attention on becomes part of your experience. And that's like switching on a light switch.
well, the grass is always greener on the other side. You have a marriage. You're having problems in your marriage. You focus on those problems. What happens? Those problems become bigger and bigger and bigger. You focus other things, but if you start putting your attention on your marriage to fix it and to work with it and things like that, it can change in the exact opposite way.
So it's fun stuff. And we wanted to get this video to you. I've been talking a little bit about it, through the week and so on, because it's so exciting to me, especially for the mother and for the soul that's inhabiting this body. The body's just a chemical cellular body. It's that poor soul involved that can't communicate and have the level of experience that it could have. And of course, from the physical view, and the mother looking at her baby going, oh my God, it's sad stuff. But now she's getting it back because this lady persevered. She's strong spiritually, and this is the end result. And this baby will just keep getting better. There's no stopping it because she's now on the right side of life, on the regenerative side of life, and it doesn't stop. It keeps on going. So it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
And I'm going to have Chris put a link to where they can follow along on his story if you want to.
It'll be fun stuff, won't it?
Yeah.
I love this stuff. Fun stuff.
Absolutely.
We love you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much again for watching the videos. Go have fun with this. Get your health back.
I'm having a birthday weekend, and I've got surprises. Nobody will tell me what they are, but I'm going to have a good weekend.
Okay, so for you spiritual nuts, what day is it? 1/11/19. 11, and then you're 9. The end of cycles, or almost. So, pretty wild. This ought to be a wild year, guys, for the 11/11ers.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you for joining us.